These idiots always point at like Lenny Bruce going on stage and, saying the N-word over and over again. It's like, yeah, but that was leading to a point. There was a twist to it that showed you what it's doing. You're just saying racist stuff, and then there's no twist. Then you're going, see, I'm just, it's First Amendment rights.
So,
The best comedians are those where you can feel what they are saying is important to them. And this doesn't have to mean big societal issues. It can be something as small as their favorite comic book or a simple childhood memory. A topic they find fun to talk about, so what you're seeing on stage is their real personality, but with specific parts turned up to 11.
These go to 11.
Patton Oswalt is the epitome of a fanboy comedian. Full of pop culture references, sometimes mainstream, sometimes obscure, all wrapped up in skillful wordplay and punchline-driven stories. And he's built an incredibly loyal fanbase to boot. So let's take a closer look. Patton started performing stand-up in and around Washington, D.C. in the late 80s. He was inspired by the likes of Jonathan Winters, Steve Martin, Sam Kinison, Bill Hicks, and like most comedians, Richard Pryor. He gigged solidly for 4 years, and in his own words became a very good road comedian. Meaning he could get laughs using solid but forgettable material, and move on to the next town and do it all again.
And I became a really, really good road comedian. I could do reliable, funny, instantly forgettable, just this stuff works. I knew the mechanics of it. I knew the grammar of it. I knew the rhythm of it. But there was nothing of me in it. There was nothing personal.
So he decided to move to San Francisco, full of confidence that he could kill anywhere. But he found that he was performing to an audience of mostly comedians, and got nothing. And this marked a turning point, as he realized what he's saying was bland. So he tore out all the pages of jokes from his notebook, and started over. This time he was about to show everyone who he really is. Patton realized that he had to dig down deep within himself to differentiate his act. So who is he? He's a liberal, an atheist, a film buff, and a comic book nerd. A veritable treasure chest of material to build upon.
Jesus' superpowers alone are so crazy. They don't even... Look, I'm not saying that they're bad. They're just so random. He has the most random... Like, on the one hand, he's got the necromancer powers, where he can drive away demons and raise the dead. Oh, wow. Awesome. And then, over here, he can take a little bit of food and make it into a lot of food. What? Doesn't that sound like a power that one of his sidekicks had in earlier versions of the Bible, and then as they kept rewriting it, they're like, why don't we lose Sandwich Joe? Why do we have him? Is he?
He also has a degree in English, and this appreciation for language has enhanced his stand-up through his expert use of wordplay and choice of vocabulary for his punchlines. Here's just a few.
Into this enchanted forest of shafts and labias, failure pile in a sadness bowl. Take you down to Uncle Touchy's naked puzzle basement.
He also doesn't take the easy and obvious route for jokes. A lesson well learned when he tore up his notebook early on in his career. If audiences can think of the same punchline, then what's the point in him doing them as well?
Boy, you comedians are really gonna miss George Bush, I'll tell you that right now, boy. You comedians sure are gonna miss George Bush. What are you gonna do, man? You're gonna miss that guy. I'll tell you what, I would happily give back the 10 minutes tops I wrote about George Bush if we weren't torturing people and our money wasn't on fire. And everyone's just watching this happen like, oh my God. And then you as a comedian walk up and go, hey, do you want to hear a joke that I wrote about these? Yeah. And they're like, no, I'm good. I have like 9 jokes in my head, right? I don't need you to add to it.
Cultural references are often his go-to point. Whenever he has to explain something, he always has a pop culture or movie reference to go with it. Sometimes they're obscure just for his own amusement, and sometimes there's something we all get.
It's like there's this whole generation it's all the Bruno Kirby character from Good Morning Vietnam. The guy that's like, I know in my heart I'm funny.
In my heart, I know I'm funny. Thank you, Lieutenant.
After switching his persona and material, Patton started to gain more exposure. His first ever TV show appearance was actually on Seinfeld, and naturally, he played a video store clerk.
Well, I can put her on reserve for you if you'd like.
This was followed by small movie roles, TV shows, and sketch shows, as well as voice artist work. As the 90s were drawing to a close, Patton had truly arrived. Because Patton is passionate about film and TV, it means he's very particular about the roles he takes. He won't want to take just any role, and if he does, he'd want to do it how he wants.
I got offered to go audition for a romantic comedy, and they wanted me to audition for the part of the gay best friend, which... It's 2011. It's 2011. I may as well put on blackface and tap dance. That's how old that cliche is now. And I read the script, and every scene, it was every standard gay best friend. Like, I walk in, and she's crying, and I go, oh, microwave popcorn and red wine, stat! So, pointless. Now, I have a lot of gay friends, and a lot of my gay friends are idiots, just like my straight friends. But in every movie, all gay characters are these magical, intelligent quip machines, which, if you're gay, has got to feel really dehumanizing after a while. So I said, look, I will audition if, and then they heard my conditions and went, you're not doing this. If I get the part, I want to play the guy really dumb. I want to be the first dumb gay best friend in the history of cinema. Like, I'll keep all the gay best friend rhythms. I just don't want to have anything helpful or intelligent to say.
There has to be a quirky, interesting, funny, and original twist. Even in a mainstream sitcom like King of Queens, watch how in this scene, Patton was dared to stand completely still throughout, just to see if he could get away with it.
Welcome to stereo. It's marvelous. You hear a bowling ball rolling in one speaker and the pins falling down in the other.
I think we found our new makeout album.
Okay, this one's from Danny.
And how can we forget his legendary Star Wars filibuster on Parks and Recreation, where he was essentially given free rein to ad-lib for as long as he could.
Section 3 allows for a citizen filibuster. If I stand here and refuse to yield my time, you are prohibited from voting on the bill. Let the filibustering begin. Grabs onto the sand outside the Sarlacc pit, and the feared bounty hunter pulls himself from the maw of the sand beast.
Okay, this is
And we realize that he survived his fall during the battle at Jabba's palace ship, while still acknowledging his father's fall from grace. As he is training the Padawans, we pan outside of the control window to a nearby asteroid where we see, and please allow me to finish this because it's going to seem like a bit of a jump, we see Thanos.
He also has quite a distinctive voice, and his talent on stage has led to huge demand for voiceover work, including video games, TV, and film. Patton Oswalt is a niche comedian who has found success in the mainstream, which includes 2 Emmys and a Grammy. Widely regarded as one of the best and smartest acts this century. He's the fanboy who dared to bring out the fanboy in all of us.
What always I go back to is the only thing that ultimately, the only thing that's stopping you from doing what you want to do creatively is yourself. Because if you look at any successful movie, before it was made, It was, of course no one wants to see this. Wait a minute, a movie about a kid that sees dead people, but then at the end it's the guy that was dead? No one wants, come on. Of course no one. So people have to just ignore all that stuff and just go, no, I'm going to shoot this. This is what I want. I want this, you know.